What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report for our second video of the day. Because so much happened today, I felt it would just be rude to the dog pound if I didn't keep you guys up to date on everything that's gone down over one of the busier days of the NFL schedule. So here's what's coming up. We got the practice squad roster so far. It's a bit of a fluid process, but we got 12 of the 16 names, plus the latest injury updates on Greg Newsome and Jack Conklin. Also, Isaac Rochell was the guy who got cut for Kellen Mond. We're going to look at that, take a bit of a closer look at that story. Plus, we all saw the report of Baker saying, I'm going to F them up. Well, now he's sort of denying it, so we're going to end the show with that story. But first, we are 62 subs away from 11,000 here at the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Now, let's get you guys the practice squad roster thus far. Mike Harley Jr., in my opinion, probably the best/biggest name on this roster. He was right there to make it for the 53. Happy to see him return to the practice squad. Dalen Baldwin as well. John Kelly, Tennessee legend. Shout out to him. Happy to see him return for another season on the practice squad. Zaire Mitchell-Payton, Miller Forristall, and Brock Hoffman as well. Moving along here, Alex Taylor is on the offensive line for the practice squad. Roderick Perry, the UDFA out of Illinois, he makes the 16-man practice squad. And then, no, not a typo, but the guy out of Grambling State, David Moore, he moves from offensive line to defensive line this go-around with the Browns. Dakota Allen, a Last Chance U legend, he was great in the preseason. He definitely deserved a practice squad spot. Herb Miller, who I thought was right there to make it for the 53-man, was absolutely a shoo-in to make it for the practice squad if he cleared waivers, and indeed he did, along with cornerback Sean Jolly, a UDFA out of App State. But let's look at the Isaac Rochell story until we get the complete practice squad roster, which probably will come sometime tomorrow. It's a fluid situation, like I said, in the NFL. But Isaac Rochell. So who remembers or who watched our first video today where we broke the news of Kellen Mond was claimed by the Browns off the waiver wire, and we were trying to guess, will there be someone put on short-term IR, or are they going to release someone, and who could that be? I did not think it was going to be Isaac Rochell. Hand up. I'm not going to stand here and predict like, oh yeah, I definitely saw this one coming. No, this caught me by surprise. It also caught Isaac Rochell by surprise. Here's what he tweeted. Just got released. I'm highly disappointed. Don't know how this will play out yet, but for now, I'd like to show gratitude for all my coaches at the Browns. I don't want to go full conspiracy like Brian Windhorst mode here, but I do find it interesting that he says, show gratitude for all my coaches at the Browns. Not the Browns organization or the Browns front office. He's pretty pissed off at Andrew Berry and company, right? He was one of the better defensive players this entire preseason. He earned a roster spot. I wish the best for him. All I hope for is if he gets signed, it's not by a team the Browns are playing this year, let alone an AFC North opponent, because I don't want to play Rochell this year. He's going to have a lot of ammunition and that revenge factor. We've already got enough of that for week one, and we'll talk about week one in a little bit. But Rochell, yeah. I mean, here's my question. This is probably the biggest question of the day right now. Was adding Kellen Mond worth cutting Isaac Rochell? I mean, I don't want to say I am a sheep to Andrew Berry and will follow him blindly, which I kind of will do because he's earned that far. He's earned that. But this was a bit of a head scratcher. You got a good backup in Josh Dobbs. Do you really need Kellen Mond on the 53-man roster at the price of Isaac Rochell, who's been a great defensive end? I don't know, Jim. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let's get on to the injury news now. Cameron Justice reporting from Browns practice today that Greg Newsome said he'll be ready to go week one. Was never very concerned about Newsome's lower leg or his hamstring injury. Now, another interesting injury update on Jack Conklin. Head coach Kevin Stefanski said Jack Conklin practiced today. Remember, he is recovering from that torn patella tendon back in November, December of last season against the Ravens. So happy to see him hopefully be on track to play week one. He's been making the right strides, But this is a serious injury to overcome. If it's not week 1, which if they were really concerned about him missing time, they would have put him on short-term IR, which would have knocked him out for the first 4 games. But I think there must be some big sigh of confidence from the Browns that if it's not week 1, it's probably going to be week 2. Otherwise, they likely would have gone that route, so they wouldn't have had to cut Isaac Rochell. All right, here is an interesting story. I don't want to spend too much time on this show talking about Baker, simply because he's not on the Browns roster anymore, right? And at some point, I don't want to be stuck in the yearbook and not moving on. But this was a pretty big story. So Baker is refuting the claim that he said he was going to, my bosses say I can't say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, and pay the price tomorrow at our meeting. He said he was going to fuck them up when referring to the Cleveland Browns, right? Here's what he said, allegedly. Because Baker is now saying, that ain't true. I never said this. Someone got my words twisted. Not even twisted. Someone made up words. How do you can't really twist these words, right? So here's what Mary Kay said in her article. Baker Mayfield denied telling Buffalo Bills sideline reporter and NFL Network analyst Cynthia Freeland after the Panthers preseason finale Friday night that I love how MKC is too good to say it. I'm going to fuck them up in reference to the Browns. Now here's what Baker said. That's not how I phrased it. That's not even what I said. Obviously, you guys can go back and look at what she said. All I said was, I hope we win. It's pretty plain and simple. I'm competitive, I want to win, and I don't think that should be harped on. So, you can decide who's telling the truth here. I wouldn't be blown away if Baker did say it and is now denying it. I mean, Matt Rule at the Panthers press conference today said, I'm not talking about that story, which, don't you think if there was no story to be had there, he would have said that was fabricated? I don't know. I'm not going to really speculate too much on that just because I wasn't there. So I'm just kind of going off of what I think and what the rumors are saying. All in all, the damage is done, right? I mean, it's not like Myles Garrett is going to pin his ears back a little bit less now because Baker said, no, that's not true. No, Denzel Ward is still pissed about the flag planting at Columbus. Myles Garrett, I don't think he ever hated Baker, but he's definitely going to be bringing the high motor for him week 1. Now, speaking of week 1, it's kind of frankly embarrassing how many Browns fans are saying, I'm going to pull for the Panthers and Baker week 1 and then come back to the Browns after that. You know what? Don't come back. Stay with the Panthers. Enjoy that wagon. If you are going to pull for the Panthers week 1, please, we don't want you, right? I mean, what's the mean? Like, we don't need you. Stay with Carolina. Who you got? I'm putting CLE for Cleveland down in the comment section. Let me know who you got in this week 1 showdown. Now, before we get on out of here, just a couple other news and rumors nuggets I, grounded up for you guys. Mary Kay wrote a fantastic article about the Browns' 5th wide receiver, Michael Woods, saying Michael Woods' journey to the Browns began with him being found at the bottom of the family swimming pool at the age of 4. While he was in a coma, his mom had a vision. Here's how it all turned out. I just highly recommend you go to cleveland.com, go to Mary Kay's Twitter, whatever, and read the article because it is a fantastic read, a great piece by Mary Kay, and truly an awesome story from Michael Woods. Shout out to him for making this roster. He earned it. He deserved it. So, some other quick news and rumors nuggets here. Who saw the Jalen Reagor trade today? Now, this isn't really related to the Browns, and that's fine. But then people started connecting the dots, going, wait a minute. The Philadelphia Eagles got a 7th rounder and a conditional 4th for Jalen Reagor. And the Browns got Amari Cooper, who is way better than Jalen Reagor. It's not even close. For how little? A 6th round swap and a 5th? Clearly, the Dallas Cowboys didn't know what the wide receiver market was going to be, because this was one of the earliest trades of the offseason, keep in mind. They misgauged what players would be going for. Now, granted, the Browns did pick up a lot more of a salary with Amari Cooper than what the Vikings are doing with Jalen Reagor, but still, this will go down as one of the biggest steals in NFL history, in my opinion. Amari Cooper essentially for a 5th. Unbelievable what Andrew Berry was able to pull off, or better yet, what Jerry Jones fumbled because it looks like they wanted to save that money to spend it on Randy Gregory, and then they botched the language of his contract, so Gregory gave him the bird on his way to Mile High. So let's give some love to our GM, Andrew Berry. Type AB down in the comment section below if you think he is the best GM in Cleveland Browns history.